Google Peskies Pest Control Montgomery. Nobody will survive. Call 334-595-9055.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Peskies Pest Control Podcast right here in Montgomery, Alabama with your hosts, Travis and Michael. We do this podcast as a community service for the river region. This includes Montgomery, Prattville, Millbrook, Wetumpka, Pike Road, Auburn, and any other surrounding areas for people just like you.
Hey, so today on the Peskies Pest Control Podcast, we would like to talk about solving pest issues without chemical application. So we're seeing a lot of, especially this month, last month with the amount of rain we've had. Travis, I think you can, with Montgomery, I think you can attest to that it's just rained every other day.
Every single day. and it's unseasonable, I mean, realistically unseasonable for, May into June and then even into July. I mean, this is just not something that we typically have. It's just pretty much downpours and heavy downpours every single afternoon. But I mean, on a side note, my yard looks great.
Well, I can't cut my grass, so my yard, it's cut now, but it's hard to cut it in the rain, which also leads us to, the whole issue of pests. If your grass is, knee high, expect to have some pest issues.
Right. So, when you talk about rain and home ownership, the first thing that comes to mind, I mean, when we're just kind of talking about a broad overview of things and a broad overview of pests and pest problems that you can, potentially solve yourself. I know I can speak for my yard and my house when I tell you that right offhand, I can think of right now, there's 2 pretty much clogged gutters right now on my house. And knowing that clogged gutters mean that it's got leaf debris, it's got different tree, pine needles, different things from trees. The debris is there, meaning that it's not draining properly, it's holding water. So, Michael, what insects am I having a problem with from my gutters that I have not cleaned because I've just, frankly, been lazy?
I can think of a few, but the main one would be mosquitoes.
Right. So we have a large amount of mosquitoes. Now, granted, our lot is kind of low lying. We do get a lot of drainage off of other lots around ours that comes through our house. So we do get a lot of standing water, especially when it rains day after day after day. If we don't cut our yard, then we get a lot of standing water. So we've kind of remedied that. But mosquitoes, I mean, that leaf debris is going to bring roaches, things like that. People don't realize how much standing water is actually left in your gutters when you don't actually clean them out. And then, mosquitoes can breed in think a container the size of a bottle cap. So think how much water's actually up there. It's more than a bottle cap. That's
right. And I mean, it's hard to clean your gutters out when it's been raining every other day because you can't get up there and do that. So it's been a very hard, I would say, 2 months.
It has. It's just been out of the norm for Alabama. But I'll tell you one thing that has continuously been coming to my house is cardboard boxes with the word Amazon on the side. So we get deliveries every single day. So we take Amazon? The items to what?
Can we say Amazon?
I don't know. I think we just did. I don't think it really matters. Amazon, Walmart, there, Target. Okay, I got a bunch out of the way. So Amazon boxes are a staple. I see Amazon delivery drivers come through, our area all the time. We're in a rural area, so Amazon's really just everywhere. But we pull the item we ordered out of the box, we throw the cardboard box on the back porch, and Michael, what happens next?
Oh my God. Well, I've got the same issue right now. Spiders, ants, millipedes, roaches,
silverfish, earwigs,
wasps, bees,
small children.
Just about anything that likes a warm environment.
Well, not only that, but what happens with all the rain we've had, the boxes get soaked. They absorb water. They never dry out. And it just creates this nice little habitat for pests that, you wouldn't normally have out there. But there again, we didn't, throw away the boxes. We didn't burn them. We just decided we needed to stack them on the back porch.
Well, and that brings up a great topic is how do they breed roaches when they're, in a lab or something like that? What do they use to breed roaches?
Oh, certainly cardboard or other
That's right.
types of paper material. I mean, it absorbs and holds moisture. It's good cover for them. It packs down good. I mean, it just gives them a perfect environment.
And one of the worst outside termite issues I've ever seen was a customer that put cardboard as their weed control. So instead of using the plastic, it's great. It's eco-friendly, but it's also a great food source.
Right, exactly. And, that brings up another thing, not even just cardboard, but talk about things like scrap wood around people's houses. All the time I see where, I get it in the wintertime. If you got a fireplace, a wood burning fireplace, you want that firewood close to your structure. No one likes to run out outside in the cold and try to get a couple more logs for the fire. Totally get that. Was the same when I grew up too. But inevitably, you stack wood on the outside of your house, and you're going to have a nice habitat for it. There again, general household pests, things like roaches, earwigs, silverfish, spiders, black widow spiders, brown recluse,
Yes.
large cockroaches like American roaches are going to love that. And then, of course, a homeowner's worst nightmare, termites.
Well, and we've seen that firsthand. We had a customer a couple of years ago that she was storing firewood in her garage and found a termite, infestation in the garage due to the firewood.
Right. Good point. That you don't even have to have it stacked along the outside of the structure. If there's gaps, cracks, crevices, damage or cracks in the foundation, they can come up right through that from underneath the house and go straight up into the firewood. It could be sitting in your living room. It could be sitting in your garage, and you could still be susceptible to that. So wood scrap, pallets, like I said, firewood, any type of boards where you've done remodel or construction and you just discarded them out to the side of the house, all of that stuff needs to be moved away from the house.
100%. And I mean, when we go to our, a new start or someone that's having an issue, that's something we look for. We're looking for mulch bags that are sitting right up against the house that have been sitting there for a couple months, or leaf debris, stacks of pallets in the backyard. The other day, a rotten door was in somebody's backyard.
If you recall, you and I actually went out on a termite inspection. This has been months and months ago. That had a crawl space, and you went into the crawl space and lifted a piece of scrap wood under the house, and there were live termites actually and eating the scrap wood underneath the house in the crawl space.
Oh yeah, I've seen that with wooden ladders. I've seen it with pallets. I've seen it. Having wood under your house in a crawl space is not a good idea.
But I like what you said too about bags of mulch or different types of ground cover that people use underneath their shrubberies and in their flower beds. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, we all have good intentions. We're going to go, to, I'm going to say some more box stores. We're going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Marvin's or Tractor Supply or wherever it is that we go and we shop, and we're going to buy the mulch that's on sale. It's like, oh great, I'm going to go get X amount of bags of mulch. We're going to get this done. And you spread one or two, the rest of them sit there and sit there and sit there because you run out of time, or you got to go to the ballpark or whatever it is that eats your time away from your home. And then I can't tell you how many times I've moved one of these bags and there's like a gigantic ant infestation all wrapped up inside of these bags because they've just sat there.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be mulch bags or wood. A ladder. I had a customer the other day having ants all over the property, inside, outside, and they were coming from more than just the ladder. They were coming from a lot of the crepe myrtles around, but the ladder was giving them that, that warm environment under where the ladder was resting on the ground, and they were just going right in the house, between the ladder and the house.
Right, and we've talked about ground, but people don't realize, not even just around the lower portion of your house, but things that they can do to keep pests such as carpenter ants, things like that, off the side of their house is trimming your trees back. Like I can't tell you how many times I've seen these improperly trimmed crepe myrtles, or these large healthy grown trees around the outside of the house with the limbs overhanging and eventually touching the eaves of the roof of the structure. Just a couple weeks ago, I had two basically back-to-back calls for carpenter ants from trees. And one of them was literally the bridge to the house was a large limb. The carpenter ants had a nest inside this kind of worn out, hollowed out tree. And the ants were just trekking along, going across to the roof line and getting in the house.
Oh, we see it all the time. I feel like you're calling me out though. I have a crepe myrtle, or I'm sorry, a Japanese maple that is touching my roof line. I'm like, when am I going to get a squirrel on my roof? I just know it's going to happen.
Inevitably, squirrels, roof rats, all of these things love to have an easy and a clear pathway. Crepe myrtles are just on my hit list. I'm not even going to lie. They're like the bane of my existence. Just not a huge fan of crepe myrtles.
I agree.
Especially because they're a lot of them are not properly maintained from a trimming standpoint. And then a lot of times they can get different types of molds and funguses, but we're not going to go into the whole lawn and ornamental thing, but they can actually attract other pests such as wasps and ants and different things, and actually make it a more desirable location in your yard just because the tree's improperly maintained. But like I said, that's a conversation for another day.
Look, lawn, that's all seasons, all day long. So
exactly.
Yeah, with the crepe myrtles too, you see a lot of people that are planting them right up against the house, and they're nice, when they're trimmed back, like you said, but when they start growing out of control, they normally grow right up, right next to the gutter up into the roof line. And then again, it's just that ladder that causes that issue for wildlife and pests.
Well, I've even seen where they get so thick and so overgrown that when the wind blows, it causes the tree limbs from the crepe myrtle to rub onto the eave of the house, actually tearing a hole into the side of the house. And I've seen people with rat infestations inside of their attic. Had a duplex over towards Millbrook that had this happen with a tree. Literally rubbed in a second story of a house. The eave had a hole in it from the tree. And I think I trapped between the two units over 50 rats.
Wow.
Yeah, significant problem. And that could have been really resolved had they just trimmed the tree limbs back.
Well, and that's a lot of, that's what we always kind of preach, is that proactive. If you cut your tree limbs away from your house, it's going to save you a lot of money in raccoon, squirrels, roof rats, potentially Norway rats, all that kind of stuff. So it's just getting that cut back to where you don't have to worry about it. They can't get on your roof, especially if it's a type of house that the eaves are all the way around the house. It's very, very difficult for them to get on the roof.
Right. So kind of to put it all together, because we have covered a broad range of things, but from the top to the bottom of your house or homeowner's house, people can do little things here and there to help prevent pest problems from beginning. Like we said, removing debris from the gutters to allow water to flow freely so that it's not held there, making a great environment for mosquitoes and for cockroaches. Removing debris and scrap wood and different things from around the outside of the structure so that you're not creating harborage areas for these different insects. Just a lot that homeowners or property owners can do to help themselves out so that they don't end up with a large pest problem just from some little things that they neglected around the outside of their property.
100%. I mean, and that goes on the inside too, pulling that stove away from the countertop and seeing all that stuff that's fallen between the stove, behind the, I can't tell you how many times I've pulled a fridge and there's just been stuff that the customer would have never known was back there.
Right. So just little housekeeping things around the inside and outside can go a very long way. You'd be surprised how many times you go to do an inspection at a house and you just point out a couple of little things, and then the customer's problem is completely solved. So just be vigilant around the inside and the outside of your home. Make strides to keep things picked up clean and not create a pest harborage area. And I promise you that in the long run, it will help you and you'll be happy with the result, as you'll be a lot more likely to be pest free. Hello, and thank you for listening to another edition of the Peskies Pest Control Podcast with your hosts, Travis and Michael. If you have any questions in reference to what we discussed today, give us a call at 334-595-9055, and you can ask for me, Travis McGowin. I'll be more than happy to speak with you. Make sure you share this podcast with your friends and family, and subscribe to us on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and any of the other major streaming platforms. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Google Peskies Pest Control Montgomery. Nobody will survive. Call 333